Welcome to Virtual Realms. I'm Ranger 1. I could have put together a whole video today on raising Pelagornis eggs in complete and abject futility. I hatched several hundred Pelagornis eggs and ended up with one viable mutation, that lavender one over in the corner. The peach one has a mutation, but it's just a stat mutation. So we're going to experiment with something new. Beside me is the S Plus Genomics Chamber. It's still labeled in game as the Mutator. Basically, when this is fired off manually, it has a cooldown period of 5 minutes, and during that 5-minute period of time, any eggs that are laid or any young that are conceived and born get one mutation. It could be stat mutation or it could be color mutation, but it'll vastly speed up the process. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use it. I don't know if I'll continue using it, but I'm kind of tempted to, because, well, first of all, my time is limited, and I only have a couple hours a night to do this, and secondly, because my whole purpose is not to show you the mechanics of breeding for mutations. No, I'm wanting to show you the results that are possible when you get mutations. And I don't think any of you need me to go through the remedial steps of birthing thousands and thousands of creatures just to get a few mutations here and there. You know how to do that. The results that I get, you can get just as easily as I can. It's just going to take a bit longer if you're not using something like this. And I've got my rates cranked up anyway. And you all know that. Plus, I kind of hate killing thousands and thousands of baby creatures when they don't have mutations. And this limits that sharply. So what I'm showing you right now are my first efforts with the Pelagornis eggs that I already had that are kind of mixed in with eggs that I got from the Mutator. The first egg does not have any mutations, and that was an egg that was laid before I switched on the Mutator. This egg, however, was, and immediately, right off the bat, we get this really bright neon green mutation. Well, that's going to help a lot. I'm kind of pleased with that result. So we're going to continue on and see what else we get. Well, we had some promising results out of that first batch. I'll show you the adult versions of those here in just a moment, but let's go for batch number 2. Some of these will be mutated by the Mutator, and some of them were dropped right after I shut it off, so we'll probably have a mixed batch, and that's okay. Let's see what we've got. A couple of those aren't quite far enough along. They're going to get snatched back up. Alright, let's take a look. Ooh, maybe most of them occurred after I shut off the Mutator. Nothing's really jumping out at me. I'll have to take a closer look and see if there are any tail feather mutations or skin mutations. So far, I haven't found a single one of those, but that's not to say they don't exist. I just haven't found any yet. Okay, it's time to see what we get in this next batch. I think this is going to be the last batch of mutations with the Mutator on, or Genomics Chamber, whatever he's calling it. We'll see what we get. Oh. Well, dummy, it would be nice if you actually grabbed the eggs. Give me just a second and I'll be right back. Okay, this is the bulk of the eggs that are definitely going to have some kind of mutation. I do have a few more left to pick up, and then I've got a bunch that, well, I'm not sure if they were created while the Mutator was on or not. We'll find out. But let's start with these. And let's just throw them all out there. Because we're impatient like that. That's a lot of eggs. I'm probably going to regret this. Bing, 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 bing. Okay. And right off the bat, well, there's yellow. A couple of yellows in there. We'll snap those up. That's all that jumps out at me, unless we've got some hidden tail mutations. I have yet to get any of those, though. That might be a purple there. I'll have to look at that a little closer. We're starting to lose the light a little bit here, though. Alright, let me snatch these out of here, and we'll do the next batch. Just wanted to take a second here and say we also got a teal out of that batch, so that worked out pretty well. I guess that's teal? That's not like a dark cyan or a light blue, is it? I don't know exactly what I would call that color. It's bluish. And bluish will do. Okay, and this is the last batch of eggs that I know for sure had a good chance of being conceived when the mutator was on. We'll see what we get. Look at them shake. They are so anxious to be born, they just can't stand it. Well, there's a lavender in there. And I think that green is pretty standard, although that's a very pretty shade of green. I'll have to check that out. Lavender, the gray is nothing to write home about. Is that another orange one? I'll have to check that one out there next to the white ones. Well, we'll see. I'll check them a little more closely. And that might be... I'm stuck. That might be another blue one over there. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes until they get grown up. I think we'll also do the batch that was collected in the other hatchery that I have. I didn't realize it was collecting eggs too, so I have no idea if those eggs were collected when the S Plus mutator was on or not. So there may be nothing in that. I'll probably do that off camera, but if something cool comes out of it, I'll bring you back for that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting mutations out of those last batches. I wasn't sure, but it seems that they came at a time when the mutator was going. I've got a couple of red ones and orange ones that are extremely nice. We're going to look at those in just a second. This is not quite the last batch, but I wanted to bring you back for this one. And there's a magenta one. I am so glad I started recording again. There's another yellow. We may not need that. That's a very bright green. And I think that's it. Outstanding. Oh, is that cyan skin? Hold on. Hold on. You see that? Right around that fella's neck? Is that you? Come here, you. Get out of there. Well, let me claim these other two first. Nice. Oh, well. No, not you. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, no, I'm not going to shoot him. Just need to get lined up here. There you go, and we'll see about you. Very nice. Oh, and there's some more skin mutations. Well, there's that red or peach there. You see it through his feathers? Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what we were looking for. Well, that's skin. Well, we'll grab him. It's the only thing he's got going for him, but that is helpful. Get this out of the way. I think that may be it. Yeah, it looks like it. Let me sort these out. I've got just a few more left to hatch, and I'll pull these guys over to the side. But yes, this last batch showed me exactly what I was looking for on the tail feather mutations and skin mutations. Those are, I think, kind of combined into one. At least they were at one point in time, but you can see it through the feathers, and that's what was throwing me. Alright, let me get this all squared away here. Okay, and we're to the last batch. These definitely have a lot of mutations, so this should be interesting. It's kind of a small batch, but hopefully we'll get some more skin and tail tip mutations in here. Look at that blue one. Holy smokes, it's gorgeous. Oh, baby. You were worth the wait. There's a little lavender one over there, too. This one's got green skin. Can you see it around his neck? Let me pull this out right there. You see that green band? That's going to come in handy. And the blue, of course. Light lavender. I think I already have one of those, but we'll double check. We got any more skin color? I think there's a little orange skin on that one, but we've already got that. Oh, and there's another blue, kind of a blue-gray one. I don't know if I quite have that one or not. All right. You know, that gold is so pretty, but it's just a basic color. Well, I think we'll sort these out, and then I'll show you the keepers. Well, I was just doing a flyby up here at Emerald Lake, and I noticed that our anglers that we just recently transplanted up here have already planted an egg of their own here in the lake. So pretty soon we're going to have a young unclaimed angler running around here. Now that angler won't come to the assistance of my tames, but the more of those that accumulate, untamed dinos kind of form their own street gang, if you will. They will defend each other. They won't defend my tames, but they act as if they are in a tribe named Unclaimed, and they all defend each other. So that's kind of what I was hoping to see. Wild or semi-wild descendants of the tames that I put in place here. Hopefully that's a trend that will continue. And it looks like that birth was successful. This is our first wild baby angler. Well, mostly wild. Unclaimed. And he or she, whichever she may be or he may be, is going to remain that way. Assuming it doesn't get eaten by a saber-toothed salmon. Oh. Where'd you go? Well, a elusive little devil. Man, take your eye off a youngster for 1 second. And it's gone. Oh, there you are. What a handsome little fellow you are. Now you can get places where the adults can't, so it'll be interesting to see where you end up. Or if you just hang out here at the end that most of the anglers seem to prefer. Doesn't even have its little rod and reel on its head yet. And we're back. Now this is the final grouping right here. These are the keepers. I know that's a lot of keepers, but they're not all going to go in the same spot. Just to show you what we've got, the first 5 here are duplicates. I've got identical ones over there in the other group somewhere. So those 2 green ones, that teal one, the 2 red ones, they have different skin colors underneath in some cases, although those 2 are identical. I'll have to figure out where I want to put those. Exceptions being these 2. The white one for sure, and I guess that feather color is a mutation, but it's kind of ho-hum. But it's good enough that I want to keep them. The white in particular I think would look good with certain combinations of skin and tail feather color. So I want to keep one white one running around. We'll see what happens with that. Over here, the main group of keepers. We've got girls on the left and boys on the right. And they're all different. With either, like in this case, we've got the cyan with either the red or all cyan, all red, vivid blue with red, vivid blue with green, darker blue with green, all different color combinations, orange, pretty much everything under the sun. And then over here in the boys, I've got a different assortment. So I can get pretty much anything that I want out of these, but I think we're done with breeding these guys for a while. I only kept one magenta one, and he's got a red undertone. Looks pretty good. So we'll keep him running around. Now, what I have to decide, I've got different areas where these guys can go. A couple, maybe more than a couple, but not too many more than a couple, are going to go out there in the new garden area. They are going to be my absolute favorites. I'll leave a few roaming around here in the cave on a test basis. We'll see how they do. If they end up getting confused or baffled by the cave, I may have to take them out. We'll see. Hope with any luck they'll wander out to where the house is outside the cave and roam around my little bungalow out there and wander around the canals as well. But then I have two other areas where they can go. One is out in the Long Beach habitat, which is a very peaceful section of beach. I think they'll go really well out there. The only real predators in the area are the occasional Dilo shows up on the beach, and they're not much of a threat. And out in the water, megalodons like to spawn. And I don't think a megalodon is much of a threat to these guys. They'd get hit once, but then they'd take off and get out of harm's way. They might end up way out to sea, but well, that's okay. I can always go look for them if I want to find them. And I've got jerboas all over the place. They've been breeding while I've been doing this other breeding project. My snail's in the way. That's okay. We're going to clear them out. I need to make a caravan run up top to Emerald Lake and take these spare jerboas up there to kind of populate that colony. And some penguins too. We might as well take a look at that while we're here. I'm nowhere near done with any of this, but we'll take a quick look out here. And I'll show you what the garden's turning into. Now this area is completely covered. It doesn't get any direct sunlight, so I went with some of Eco's, more or less her fantasy garden type of thing. And well, it's got a lot of mushrooms, a lot of vividly, almost neon colored trees. I think it really kind of goes well in a cave environment, and we're going to flesh this out, hopefully in the very near future. That turtle has merged with the tree, which is almost identical in color to his shell. That's kind of creepy and kind of cool all at the same time. And I notice out here that the penguins have been busy. I checked the S+ hatchery, and it's got quite a few Karuku eggs, but its radius doesn't quite cover the far edges of this. So when the temperature is right, we'll get a lot of these wild births out here. Now there's a lot more eggs in the hatchery, but there are quite a few little unclaimed penguins running around out here. And I'm going to claim them and get the jerboas rounded up, make a few decisions on that. A couple will go out here anyway, and thin the herd out here, so to speak. And we'll take them up to Emerald Lake and let them go up there. Okay, I've made my final decisions on which ones to keep out here, and I'm keeping too many, but I can't help it. I may have to change this around. I'm going with the ones that were all one color. This is cyan, skin and feathers, and the same as far as this red one and that blue one over there, which I really like the blue. The green one is all green. This one's magenta and red. Let's take a look at that. Magenta and red. And then yellow with a nice pretty dark blue. Give you a better look there. 3 boys, 3 girls. And we'll see how that goes for right now. And we'll just let them roam around out here in the garden. Well, I think they work pretty well. As long as they don't get spooked and take wing and get in the way or fly up into a corner and get stuck, I think they'll do just fine out here. And their colors really do kind of go with the otherworldly color scheme that I've picked for this subterranean garden. Was that you? Okay, here we go. I've made a selection of wonderfully colored Pelagornis, and we're all flying out to the Long Beach area where I'm going to set them free. Come on, people. Try and keep up. Oh, and I chose this one for myself. I'm going to have to come up with a good name for him. There we go. Now, with any luck, these guys will get spooked at some point in time or hit water unexpectedly and take off and fly into this area as well. Oh my goodness, what a colorful bunch you are. Come on, boys and girls. And with any luck at all, they'll find little nooks and crannies to get stuck in, and we'll start breeding some Pelagornis in the wild too. But Pelagornis don't stop very often, and they don't tend to get stuck, so I'm not anticipating a lot of wild breeding, if any, out of this group. But really, that's okay. Where do I want to let them go out here? Now, this whole area is what I'm calling the Long Beach habitat. Almost totally messed that up. Right here by the blue obelisk. So let's come on out here. I could let them go right out there in the center of that, but I want them to have a good chance of wandering the coastline. And well, let's just find a spot right about here, and I'm going to set them free. My jerboa colony is doing well, and there are lots of wild-born jerboas running around. Alright, and there we go. Oh, there's a little wild-born jerboa right there. What do you got going on? Oh, you're a pretty gray with that cyan striping going on. That's actually a pretty cool combination, little buddy. Not the most colorful, but you look sharp. Alright. Yeah, this jerboa colony is doing just fine, and it's primarily because there's a lack of land predators through here. And that's just fine with me. If they wander far enough away, they could conceivably get up into upper areas up there where there are more predators. But that's okay, that'll offset the population rate down here. So, this colony of jerboas is definitely a success. We'll see how the Pelagornis do. Let me get rid of the text. That looks magnificent. I doubt that they're going to take off very often, but you never know. And Pelagornis wander a lot. So they could end up wandering back over this rise here and into the area around my house quite easily. We'll see. Yeah, they're already spreading out up and down the coastline. This is going to work out pretty good. Well, I got back and was grabbing the group that I was going to take up to release at Emerald Lake. And it's going to be hard to see, but my group I'd released here in the cave have already given birth to a new yellow and blue Pelagornis. So, yeah, that's happening quite rapidly. I don't think this one can fly, so we're going to leave you here. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright. Let's put you on passive down here. For now, anyway. And let's disable following. Alright, where'd the other two go? Blast it! I hit them accidentally. Guys. Oh well, hell, I guess I can stay down here. Make it okay? Yeah, you made it just fine. I've decided to do one thing a little bit differently up here at Emerald Lake. Although they won't breed in the wild doing this, I've got the Pelagornis, for the most part, with one or two exceptions, following the turtles up here, or in one case, following one of the anglerfish up here. And the reason why I did that is, well, this is a unique opportunity. With these rocks here and there, breaking up their movement, forcing them into the air once in a while, and then at other times they tend to stay on the surface and swim. They'll follow these guys on their highest follow settings in a kind of an interesting way, stopping for long periods of time, looking like they're fishing or taking their rest, then occasionally lifting off to follow a turtle around. On land, of course, they'll stay in the air, they'll hover for a period of time and then hurry up and catch up with the turtle. All in all, it adds an awful lot of life to the lake, and it looks pretty neat having them swim all over the place and not constantly flying. And let's face it, pretty soon they would end up flying away over the edge of the cliffs or further up the mountain, and we wouldn't see them again. So this way we've got them around to enjoy for a while. I don't normally do it, but with the unique nature of the way Pelagornis follow other creatures on the land, in the air, and on the water, I think that in this case I can make an exception. I have totally destroyed this ecosystem, and I really don't care. Well, I think that pretty much does it for this episode. We covered a lot of ground. I think I will continue to use the S Plus mutator for a while, anyway, and see how it goes. It certainly makes it possible to see a lot more mutations and a lot more mutation combinations than I would be able to do without it. And I think that's something that we can all get behind. I hope you guys don't mind. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to give it a thumbs up, both on YouTube and on Steam if you watched it through Steam. Recommend it to some of your friends, and if you haven't already, at least consider subscribing. Until I see you guys again, good hunting.